nature's best, Bobtail.
Indeed, Liesl. Now, what would a Friday be without a visit from our celeb vet, Dr. Roy Aronson? And he's here to educate us on taking proper care of our animals. And this morning, very interesting topic, Dr. Roy, rabies. What a serious one as well.
Rabies is a really serious disease. If you get bitten, you have a problem, and prevention is far better than cure.
All right, so let's start at the beginning. I mean, what exactly is rabies?
Rabies is a viral disease that is transmitted, mostly 99% of rabies in humans is from a dog bite. So there are loads of ways of preventing the disease. It's a dreadful problem. If you get bitten, you're in big trouble. If you get the symptoms and the clinical disease, there's very little doctors can do for you. So the whole thing resides in prevention. And it's vaccinate. It's as simple as that, vaccinate. You have to have your dogs vaccinated against rabies.
As easy as that, actually, to stop this horrible disease. Is there any way of telling if a dog or an animal has got rabies? Is it by looking at it?
Well, the overwhelming signs in our canine population, it's aggression. In fact, cats can also get rabies. All mammals can get rabies. And there's aggression. Oddly enough, in the wild animals often become tame and are seen to behave in a tame fashion. But in our domestic situation, aggression is the big problem. If your dog suddenly becomes hyper-aggressive, salivating, chewing stones, going crazy, then if there's the possibility that they've been exposed to the vector, then you must consult a vet, absolutely.
So it's very difficult. I mean, if you see a dog in the street, and if you're a good Samaritan, want to approach a stray dog or something like this, you need to be careful, because it's very difficult to make the call whether this dog is just unfriendly or whatnot, or just that's his behavior.
Look, a stray dog in the street will act with fear. A rabid dog is usually hyper-aggressive. They rush towards you. They're salivating like crazy. They're snarling, and they really look crazy. And the overwhelming sign is intense aggression. And if a dog came to me like that, I would really try and avoid it, or use restraining means that I can actually capture it without risking getting bitten.
Now, what should you do if you suspect your dog or cat or animal has got rabies? I mean, what is the first steps you need to take?
Well, you must get to a vet. You can. It's a notifiable disease, which means that the state has to be notified. You can get in touch directly with the state vet. There are protocols for dealing with rabid animals, and you must get in touch with the state vet. Don't do this yourself. Just don't do it yourself.
Because it is dangerous. It is very dangerous for humans, as you've said.
Yeah, it's extremely dangerous.
I mean, is it fatal to humans if you don't vaccinate yourself, or suspect that you might have rabies?
Yes. The bottom line is it is a fatal disease, but it's a very interesting one in that from the time you're bitten, the virus is very slow in getting to your brain, which is the target organ. It migrates in nervous tissue and it goes slowly. So if you're bitten on the periphery, arms, legs, you have time to get a vaccine, and the vaccine will prevent the disease from happening.
So what is the ways that this disease spread? Is it just by biting from another dog or animal?
Well, there's a reservoir host. There's a thing called a reservoir host. Meerkats and bats are reservoir hosts of rabies. Now, we've got meerkats and bats on Table Mountain, so people think that just because we're living in a city, you shouldn't vaccinate against rabies. Every single one of our domestic pets must be vaccinated. If you can't afford it, there are state vets that are involved in vaccination programs. The South African Veterinary Association has sponsored programs every now and again. It's absolutely critical. Vaccinate your pet against rabies.
As easy as that.
Some areas as often as every 6 months, depending on where you live, and some areas as infrequent as every 3 years. But your vet will generally know what to do specific to his area.
And I really think it's animal disease that you need to educate yourself about properly.
Yes. It's one of the real bad ones. And just as a little aside, all veterinary students in their first or second year, I can't remember, are automatically vaccinated against rabies. So we carry a lifelong immunity.
Dr. Roy, thank you so much for coming through, educating us on rabies.
Thank you.
Have a great Easter weekend.
And you too, and it's
awesome.
Great Thanks a lot.
There we go. So remember, important. Educate yourself when it comes to rabies. Very, very serious disease. But now over to another light topic. If you want to see something mouth-watering, don't go anywhere.
Stay with Expresso and SABC3.